What is up, guys? You know what time of the week it is, and you know what time it is. It's time to preview the Browns versus the 49ers. Monday Night Football. Huge game. Two good teams. Two teams that I believe are technically in first place, although not really with the 49ers, because I think that the Seahawks have the division record tiebreaker, even though the Niners don't have a loss. So actually, never mind that. Now the 49ers are undefeated. Jimmy Garoppolo has been playing good enough, not amazing, but good to great. And they've been getting a lot of production out their run game. Of course, Browns fans would recognize the Kyle Shanahan system. Brian Hoyer had good success in that system. The running backs had good success in that system. It is a very, very good system. So without further ado, let's break this down and jump right into it. All right, we're going to jump into some key matchups. And the key matchup I think is very interesting is the 49ers zone-heavy run scheme versus the Browns' strong front seven. Although the Browns have done a good job in containing a lot of offenses while being shorthanded, they have still shown a tendency to bite on a lot of play action, to be over aggressive, and to get killed on screens and misdirects a lot. Now with the 49ers, that's all they're going to do. A lot of play action, a lot of misdirection, a lot of bootlegs, a lot of things to move the pocket to kind of eliminate the weakness of an offensive line and get the ball out quickly. And of course, Jimmy Garoppolo, one of the quickest releases in the NFL. So very, very hard guy to take down just because of that. But if you look at the 49ers offense, it is very clearly hinged off the running game. They have ran the ball 114 times versus passing the ball 85 times. So their identity and their ideals are very, very clear here on what they want to do. They want to run the ball to get the passing game to open up. I think it's worth mentioning last week the Browns did get ran on a little bit by Baltimore. Now, it didn't end up killing them because the Browns were able to make the stops or get a turnover when they needed, and the Ravens did not score as much, but they were getting ran on a little bit, so that'll be an interesting thing to watch out because they get ran on. This week, I think that Jimmy Garoppolo and the Kyle Shanahan system is going to be able to scheme up enough stuff to score on those end zone plays with play action passes and that kind of thing. So I think keeping the 49ers out the end zone is going to be a much tougher task for the Browns. And I think it's going to be a good question on if Myles Garrett can make an impact because Joe Staley will probably not play in this game, which would leave Myles Garrett on a backup left tackle, but they are going to scheme things directly so Myles Garrett cannot have an impact on this game. So it's going to be interesting to see who can step up, if Myles Garrett is able to step through, and what the Browns are able to do under those circumstances. Also, the Kyle Shanahan offense, and it's very important to remember, is meant to mask weaknesses on the offensive line and, more importantly, expose bad communication in secondaries. If your secondary is not communicating well, like the Ravens secondary was last week, this kind of offense will kill you. But the Browns have been communicating fairly well. I wouldn't say great. They had some miscues there that were kind of covered up by bad passes or good pressure up front. So I don't think they've been communicating as well as they have in past weeks, but I think that they're going to communicate well enough not to get killed consistently by this 49ers offense. And I think because of the nature of the 49ers offense, it's going to be a huge test for this banged up secondary. I mean, Goff has not looked like Jared Goff at the beginning of the season. Lamar Jackson did struggle a little bit against the Browns, and he did put up good numbers against the two teams that he played, but that was Arizona and Miami. I think this secondary is going to be really tested by this scheme that Kyle Shanahan puts out and the quick release and quick decision-making of Jimmy Garoppolo. Now, they're also going to have opportunities to get the ball because Jimmy does not throw a very hard spiral, and this team has not, through the first 3 weeks, been able to keep their hands on the football consistently. So they're going to have opportunities to change the game that way, but still, it's going to be a huge test for the secondary. I think one of the matchups that I think bodes well for the Browns is that they have two solid athletic linebackers in Mack Wilson and Joe Schobert, because if you have bad linebackers, just watch what the 49ers did to the Cincinnati Bengals, who I believe have bad linebackers. And you'll see how bad linebackers can just be taken advantage of so much in this Kyle Shanahan scheme. So the Browns have good linebackers, which gives them a better chance of stopping this offense. Now let's get into some key inactives. For the 49ers, you have Jalen Hurd, who is now on IR, so he's out. And you have Dee Ford, Tevin Coleman, Joe Staley, and Ahkello Witherspoon, who are all doubtful. Did not practice for the first 2 days of this week. Not likely to practice the next day, not likely at all to play. And for the Browns are getting a little bit healthier and actually had some luck this week because Jarvis Landry has already cleared protocol, practiced fully. He is expected to play, so he's definitely probable. Morgan Burnett got back on the practice field, might be able to practice full soon. Kind of expect him to play. Rashard Higgins, weird story with him. He's questionable. I don't expect him to play, but it could happen. It's coin flip. And then Denzel Ward and Greedy Williams would be shocked if those two played. But those two have been out for a while now, and nothing is really new on this injury report for the Browns. And Jarvis Landry being able to play, that's huge for this Browns offense this week. Now let's talk about the biggest weakness for each team. And I think the biggest weakness for San Francisco is the turnovers. They have been turnover prone. If Pittsburgh was a more capable offense, I don't think that the 49ers walk out of there with a win because they turned the ball over a lot in that game. This team itself has just turned the ball over a lot. It's normally with just fumbling, honestly. It's not even a lot of interceptions. So that is definitely a weakness for the 49ers because for a team that likes to run the ball, do play action, move in chunks like that, they're not really a quick strike offense. It really hurts them when they have turnovers because that really takes the game out of their favor. So the turnovers are something that the 49ers are going to have down, like figured out in order to win this game. Also, it's worth mentioning they're a home team coming off bye. Historically, those teams not great when they come off of byes, especially this early in the season after having this momentum early. And if you're a 49ers fan, you're pretty aware that you play the LA Rams next week. And I would be concerned if the 49ers kind of look ahead to that and kind of overlook the Browns a little bit. And the Browns aren't a team that can be overlooked because of the talent that they have on both sides of the ball. So that would be an interesting thing to watch for the 49ers. Now for the Browns, the biggest weakness is offensive line consistency. Last week against the Ravens, they were able to have good offensive line play, and they're going to have consistently good offensive line play. That offensive line is going to have to show up this week. The 49ers have a very good defensive line. They have very long and very athletic players, very versatile players who are going to be able to move around and cause havoc on this offensive line if they're not able to hold their own. And when this offensive line is bad, it kind of crumbles everything from the inside because now the running game isn't going that well, which puts Baker in a position to press. And while Baker is a great risk taker, when he's out of rhythm and he takes those risks, he tends to throw a lot of interceptions. So that is not a situation you want to find yourself if you're the Browns. You want to keep Baker Mayfield clean. You want to get Nick Chubb going forward. You want to have Baker Mayfield be able to make plays quickly and in rhythm to move this ball and get the ball in the hands of the playmakers. You're going to want to get Jarvis Landry the ball. You're going to want to get Odell Beckham. And it's going to be interesting this week because I would guess Richard Sherman is going to be covering Odell Beckham for the bulk of the time. And I think that's a very interesting matchup because Richard Sherman is a very good, very physical corner, but he's not as fast as he used to be. And I wonder if that's something Odell can take advantage of, especially if the 49ers are going to think about leaving Richard Sherman on an island whenever Odell is on that side. And in order not to get caught like the Ravens did, overcommitting to OBJ and allowing Jarvis Landry to have 160 yards and allowing guys like Ricky Seals-Jones to just appear wide open. So that's going to be an interesting matchup to watch from the wide receiver corner side of things. Now let's jump into some win criteria. For the 49ers, the win criteria is going to be pretty simple. Get the ground game going early, bother Baker Mayfield, keep turnovers to a minimum. They're going to have to keep turnovers to a minimum. I believe they're tied for first in turnovers, which is concerning because everybody else has played 4 weeks. They have played 3 weeks, and they have turned the ball over 10 times. That is not good. Now, the turnovers are a weird one with the 49ers, right? Because nobody expects a team that's 3-0 turn the ball over that much. And I think that's credit to how good this defense has played early on. And then I think this is going to be a good test for the 49ers to see if that defense is for real, because the Browns do push out a good unit out there. They have a good running back. They have good wide receivers. They have a good quarterback. And they have what can be a good offensive line some days. Now, if I'm a 49ers fan, would I like my matchup against the Browns? Not really. I wouldn't love this matchup. I think that there are some things that the Browns can take advantage of. I think the matchup with Richard Sherman and Odell Beckham is going to be one of those things. I think that this front seven is going to be able to kind of contain some of the run. And I think that this isn't a great matchup for the 49ers, especially coming off a bye when the Browns are coming off of a big division win on the road. Let's jump into the Browns win criteria. And the Browns win criteria is simple as well. They need to play turnover-free football. They need to stop the run, and they need to get this offense going in rhythm. And I would say get OBJ the ball. Let OBJ have a big day. If OBJ is able to get loose, I think that'll open things up for the rest of the offense. I think it's Baker's turn to help out Nick Chubb and make Nick Chubb's life a little easier by having a bigger day through the air this week. This is going to be a game of matchups. If the Browns' strength, which is their defensive front seven, can contain what the 49ers' strength is, and which is their running game, then the Browns are going to have a very, very good chance of winning this game. But vice versa, if the 49ers are able to run the ball like the Ravens were able to run the ball, I think they're going to be able to finish those plays that the Ravens weren't able to through the air. And I think that this would be an easy game for them to win. So the real bet here for the game is, do you think that this Browns front seven can stop the rushing attack that the 49ers pose? Do you think they're disciplined enough? And do you think they're athletic enough to do this? I think so. And that's why I think the Browns are going to win this game 31-21 on Monday Night Football. The Browns front seven is going to be able to slow down this rushing attack, be able to get to Jimmy Garoppolo a little bit if they force him to pass more, and expose some of the flaws with the Kyle Shanahan system. I think on the other side of the ball, I think Baker Mayfield will be able to get the ball to Odell Beckham, get the ball in the hands of their playmakers. I think that's really going to open things up. I think this Browns team might be over some of the discipline problems that they had earlier in the season. And I think that they're ready to play a really good game on Monday Night Football. I think they're going to win this game. But that's just my opinion. Let me know what your opinion is down below. And if you like what I do here, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, ding that notification bell so you can be notified when I upload. And if you want to help the show out, please give me $1 a month on Patreon, have your name added to the bottom of this bar, or buy a shirt. Either way is greatly appreciated. But that is it for this week's show. Thank you guys for watching. Have a great day.